You're now listening to Design with Vivian Toh.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on the 5th episode of Design. I am Vivian Toh, and for this evening, I'll be speaking to Cecil Onodera, who is the Director of Creative Studies at ALFA International College. So, for this evening alone, we are going to talk something interesting about the creative economy agenda, how it will improve the landscape of the creative industry. Later on, we will be another guy, a special
we'll be
guest.
Joined by
we'll be joined by Karunajanan Noel, who is also from ALFA International College.
Yeah, I've seen his photo on your website.
Yeah.
He seems like an interesting guy.
Exactly, right? We'll catch up with him later on.
Great.
So the creative economy agenda, what is it about? Cecil, good evening.
Good evening, Vivian.
How are you feeling?
Fine, thank you.
Now, let's get this started. Now, the next big thing in the creative industry is the study of marriage between fashion and entrepreneurship. I believe there is also a study of a marriage between design in general and entrepreneurship. Now, how did you get started in this study?
Well, let's see. It's probably an outgrowth of the college looking for a niche, a particular focus as a tertiary education provider. Its history has been in the design disciplines, and we've now focused more on, as you said, the marriage between design and business as our particular niche. And an example of that is this new course that we've introduced called Fashion Entrepreneurship, which is the marriage between fashion design and business entrepreneurship. So it was kind of an outgrowth of the need in the industry, of the market, not just in design, but in particular design with business entrepreneurship.
How do you see the design landscape in Malaysia currently? Is it as commercially viable as people have been talking about it?
Well, design is a very promising discipline. Unfortunately, a lot of parents don't really understand what design is, and for their children who have passed the SPM tests, now looking towards their careers, parents will inevitably ask questions such as, what career shall my child best be suited for? And they ask questions like, how much money will they be making for whatever career? And because they don't necessarily understand what an architect or a graphic designer or a multimedia designer would typically make, design is often misunderstood, and it's our job at ALFA College to inform parents the promise, the opportunities that design disciplines can provide for their children, and the wonderful career opportunities that there are.
So how do you do so? How do you make sure or inform the parents of the great potentials of getting started in design?
Well, probably the best way to do that is by letting them know about our graduates, alumni, and describing to them some of the typical job opportunities and career pathways that our graduates have followed. There have been a number of successful graduates who have gone on to start their own businesses or join well-established organizations and corporations, both here in Malaysia and abroad.
Mm-hmm. So it's written here on the outline that you've given me earlier on that ALFA College, it's specialized in offering design-related courses. Now, how did it all happen?
How did it all happen? Well, this year we've celebrated our 15th year anniversary, and it started in 1998. A number of teaching lecturers left an established college here in KL and established their own, what we call a boutique college, focusing on the design industries. And those practitioners happen to be in architecture, interior architecture, graphic design, and multimedia design. And it was that kind of odd assemblage of particular practitioners that formed, and their specialties, that the college then developed and established itself.
Do you encourage, does the college encourage a constant discussion among the creative people and lecturers about the trends and what's going on? Will it affect how the course is being laid out?
Oh, definitely. It's important that the academic curriculum, the program, is relevant to the industry. So it's one of our duties to make sure that we stay in touch with industry players, particularly with our alumni, since they're the ones who are actually practicing in the industry, whether it's architecture or graphic design or whatever the particular design discipline.
Then I think there must be something interesting to find out from the usual conversation among the staff. And so what is the interest among younger generation? Have you found out anything interesting that might interest them in regards to the fashion entrepreneurship?
The cool thing is about design is that it's wide open, and it's all based on the creativity and vision of the individuals who explore the field. It could be anything from more traditional design work, like designing buildings or interior design, but more recently into things like video games. Mobile apps are all related to design, and so the future is there for exploration. It's basically up to the particular individuals and the students, and the important role that teachers and lecturers play to help students and young people tap into their individual vision.
Mm-hmm. So now we're talking about a bit about education, and now putting an additional ingredient to a design course, which is also known as business. So what is good about this fashion entrepreneur course? What will they learn from it?
So in general, there are the design disciplines that I've been mentioning about in overview. But there are some real-world issues, problems that need to be addressed. So it's not just fine arts or art for art's sake. There's a practical application that needs to be addressed, practical, real-world problems. So there's this creative element that students and practitioners bring to the table. But there's also the element of business and the role of business in this economy. The only way any practitioner can survive is by making sure their business makes money and so forth. So what we've done at ALFA College is to bring typical or traditional design discipline and learning with business skills. And so the first example that we've been focusing on now is fashion entrepreneurship, which is the joining of fashion design and business entrepreneurship.
When you say real issues, what are the real issues? Can you tell us a bit more about that?
So those are typically things like, architecture is a practical design field. It's not simply someone's ideal building that exists in some ideal space. There's an actual location. There's actual streets. There's traffic, circulation issues, all these kinds of things impacting the environment that an architect needs to address. So that's what I mean by real-world issues. And then you tie in things like budget and limited finances, and so you can't just build some fantastic creation. It has to actually conform to certain limitations, whether it's budgetary or space or traffic, legal issues, so forth.
But what I see, what I've found throughout my years of being in the creative industry myself, I hear people saying that designers are not thinking deeper. They know how to churn out. They are like robots. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. So that is a problem. Like you said, the way some design disciplines are taught, it can be something like a cookie cutter approach, and it's copy and paste. And with the introduction of computers, that's an easy trap to get into, where you're just copying old projects and applying old solutions to new settings. So that's where the need to think out of the box really comes into play. And one of our primary responsibilities as a teaching academy is to make sure that that kind of thing happens less and less, and we explore and challenge students to find out their individual creativity.
Studies do get boring, right? And in order to get the students engaged and get interested in what they are going to learn, how is ALFA College is doing in that area? How do we really get them interested?
So we'll typically talk with graduating secondary school students, so SPM leavers, and the best way to get kids interested in design is through hands-on experience with design. So we will hold workshops. We'll go visit schools and do things like T-shirt painting workshops. We recently held a furniture design building workshop using straw and tape. We did a tower design workshop. So it's just hands-on creativity in teams that seems to work well for us.
I made several visits to ALFA College before, giving talks and also to visit the staff. And I see there is a wall, some sort of like a wall of fame, where you have certificates given out to industry players. What are those actually?
So those are celebrating our relationships with industry leaders. They can be professional associations, corporations that work with us closely to help educate students about design and the particular organization that we're working with.
Okay. We are going to take a short break, and when we return, we will delve deeper into the creative economy agenda, particularly from the perspective of ALFA International College, on how it can be improve the creative industry. You are listening to Design on Bernama Radio24.
Bernama Radio24, your news radio.
With the human brain capacity, you can get enough CDs to make a stack, which will reach beyond the moon. So don't underestimate your capacity to achieve anything in life. This is Dato Sheikh. You're listening to Bernama Radio24.
You're now listening to Design with Vivian Toh.
Welcome back to Design on Bernama Radio24. I'm Vivian Toh, and on this show this evening we are speaking to Cecil Onodera from ALFA International College, who is the Director of Creative Studies. Now, Creative Studies is a very important aspect and has always been an interesting topic for me, and I'm eager to find out more from Cecil on what have he been working on in the aspect of creative studies. What have been some interesting facts or studies that you have come up with, Cecil?
Let's see. Our office is a catch-all office, so we typically coordinate projects involving the other departments at the college, like business development, marketing, and the various academic schools and teams. So one exciting example is our exploration into the creative economy. The creative economy is this notion or concept that gives us a framework for understanding what we've been talking about, the fusion between design and business. There are two areas that hold a lot of promise and lean on the strengths that are very much part of Malaysia and Malaysians.
What are the areas?
So the one example is this course that we're now introducing called Fashion Entrepreneurship. So fashion entrepreneurship is a term that's been coined to distinguish fashion design from or with business. So it's typically the vision or creativity of someone who's focusing on the fashion industry or clothing industry with business. So it might be a small retailer or someone who's designed a fashion line who's trying to introduce it to the market. So it's something more than just fashion design, but someone who's actually wrestling with introducing their product line into the market.
I'm just curious, do you mean that fashion designers or students upon graduation, they are very passionate in what they do, but they do not know how to move forward in business?
That's right. As you probably know, business is fraught with all kinds of trappings, and more than 55% of the businesses that get started end up as failures within 5 years. So a designer really needs business acumen, real-world business skills in order to survive in the competitive marketplace. So that's something we're trying to address at ALFA College.
Not only that, I think we definitely don't have a problem with talent shortage, but they lack of certain knowledge, which is business as well, right?
Right, and a designer is someone who's really interested in expressing and articulating their creative vision. They may not necessarily be interested in making money per se. So here in Malaysia and in Asia in general, we're finding people who not only want to make their creation a real live, actual physical thing, but also make money at it as well. So we're excited by introducing this particular field.
I think there is something to talk about there, as whether do these designers want to make money, or they do not know how to make money, or is it just something that they like to do?
Well, I think what we're finding is that the new generation of kids right now actually want to make money. They're not just idealists or simply artists, but young people who want to express themselves and also enjoy life. In order to do that, the issue of finances and career really are important things to wrestle with.
Well, I do see there in the market, there are designers or design students who are they come together as a group, coming up with arts and crafts and doing whatever they can using their artistic talent and try to sell certain things. Now, for fashion entrepreneurship, in this course, are the students encouraged to participate in activities such as fashion shows?
Oh, sure. And that's probably the easiest way to get involved. as you know, in TV and in the internet, there's all kinds of coverage now on fashion design, fashion runway events. High fashion models are celebrities now, and that's attractive for young people and who want to create their own fashion line, whether it's these high-end designs or something as simple as pair of jeans and footwear or maybe eyewear. So it really is an exciting field to explore, and so that's something we want to make available and educate the public on.
Well, Cecil, to summarize what you have to say about the creative economy agenda, what will be your vision of the creative economy, especially for Malaysia?
Right. It's design and business, two areas that I think Malaysians are particularly well suited for and should be proud of. They have a history of good business sense, but also being creative with their particular environment, and it's something that should fuel Malaysia's development and economic growth. So it's for us as a college at ALFA, it's our job to let parents and students know that design offers a wonderful opportunity for them as a career and as for personal growth.
That was Cecil Onodera of ALFA International College, the Director of Creative Studies at ALFA, sharing his views on the creative economy agenda, how it would improve the landscape of the creative industry. Now, that's one very interesting nugget. Actually, a lot of nuggets that we could get from Cecil himself. But do stay tuned with us. We're not completely done yet. Thank you to Cecil for being with us on the show. Coming up next, we will have Karunajanan Noel, the head of school for fashion entrepreneurship at ALFA International College. On Bernama Radio24, this is Designed.
The attitude about local talents not good enough has got to stop. Talented Malaysians deserve the spotlight. This is Evelyn He, founder of No Black Tie, and you tune in to 812 Live on Bernama Radio24.
Good evening. I'm Muhammad Tab Saleh. I'm President of Institute Integrity Malaysia. I would like to call upon all Malaysians to make sure that we will be able to showcase our best behavior in all circumstances. In whatever circumstances we are in, we are always a role model to be copied by not only by our children, by the young people in Malaysia, but also throughout the world. As I am sure all of us know, Malaysians are being viewed by the world at large as an example of a progressive country, a progressive nation. And if we are to play this role, we need to show the best example in terms of our behavior, in terms of our integrity.
Hi, I'm Adrian Daniel. I'm from St. Paul's, and this message is for the Prime Minister. I wish all the KSS exams will stop, and happy Children's Day.
When it comes to the creative industry, where are we heading? Hi, I'm Vivian Toh. Join me as I talk to various personalities from within the creative industry, finding out about the challenges, issues, and developments. All of this on Designed, the brand new creative talk show, every Wednesday night at 9:15 on Bernama Radio24. Welcome back to Designed, and good evening to Noel.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm looking at your credentials. You are the head of school fashion entrepreneurship at ALFA International College. We will talk more about that on how you ventured into teaching. But first of all, I see that you have studied fashion at the Paris American Academy. Sounds glamorous to me. How did you ended up in fashion? Earlier on you said you wanted to take a course in culinary arts and mom disagreed, and then you get into fashion. Tell us about that.
Well, I love culinary arts. Mm-hmm. It's always been my first passion, my first love. However,
how However.
Yeah, my mom didn't allow. And then she goes like, you can't do
you're
that.
cool about it.
And no, not really.
You cried.
So I actually did architecture.
Okay.
And halfway through, I realized that this is not what I want to do in life. And it was very difficult. So I made a decision and I told my dad. And he said, oh yeah, go ahead.
With fashion.
Yeah, with fashion. And he was supportive all the way through. And here I am.
What is it like in architecture? Why was that jump from architecture to fashion? What is it that you don't like about architecture and things that you like about fashion?
Right. I always have a flair for fashion. I love clothes. I love to design. I love to
your
look
hair.
good. Oh, thank you. And so what happened was I thought, doing architecture will be able to fulfill my creativity. Desires, yeah. And what happened was halfway through, I was just sitting in the class one day.
And stones. You like textures.
Yeah. So one day, sitting in the class, and I decided this is not what I want to do. In fact, I really love fashion so much that, I made the bold step, the first step, and started off doing fashion.
Then how did you get to find out about Paris American Academy?
Well, I did a foundation in a college here, and then I went on to do a diploma level in another college, and that college had a tuning program to Paris. So I thought, okay, that will be an opportunity. I mean, where else can you go? It is the fashion capital of the world. So I ended up in Paris.
Getting there, was it difficult?
It was actually, in fact, considering I was very young when I left the country.
How young were you? 21?
I was 21, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was just in time I celebrated my birthday and off I went. And when I arrived there, it was very difficult, first time out of the country and
culture shock,
yeah, and people were not really friendly. So, but then, I decided, I'm going to
let's
do my
look at
best.
the brighter side of it. You became somebody else, somebody stronger, right?
Right. I would say yes. Well, I was a very timid person. But now, as the years goes by and, meeting a lot of people, in fact, Paris has taught me a lot in life about people. And it is where I decided in Paris, one day I will be in the education line, educating people.
Why?
Well, first of all, I really love people. It's all about people. I mean, people are around us. And we all depend on each other in everything we do. So to me, I think, it is all about how we look at each other and help each other.
So before we talk about how you got into education, you do have a very interesting, let's call it a learning curve, having worked as a fashion designer in the Bollywood fashion scene? No? But were you in India?
Yeah, I was in India, in fact, for a year and a half. I was in Mumbai.
Okay. What did you do
I
there?
was actually teaching there.
Oh, teaching? Teaching fashion?
Teaching fashion, yes.
Wow.
In one of the local universities. And I gained the experience. The reason why I chose Mumbai or India in particular is because it has such richness of culture, the vibrancy of color and diversity of race.
So when you taught fashion there in India, Mumbai, right? There must be a specific kind of fashion that you put forth to the students. Did you bring any local flavors into the course?
Oh, well,
what was it like teaching fashion there?
Well, teaching fashion in Mumbai, I mean, in India especially, is very challenging because they have their own set of mindset, and basically, if you look at India fashion is built on their richness of culture, and it's been there for thousands of years, and that's what draws the the local people together, because of their culture. And if you look at the Bollywood scene and the fashion in Bollywood, it is all about culture. It's all about their tradition,
celebration,
wear, culture. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, having been in India, what do you think could be something that us Malaysians can learn from them?
To appreciate our own culture.
Mm-hmm.
I
Are we
think
not appreciating culture enough?
we do. It's just that I think we should really put it into our designs, in what we are doing in our lives. To me, fashion it's all about life, and how do you use that? So I think we are so rich in our culture here in Southeast Asia, in Malaysia. So why not use that, as a.
So at some point in time, you started off as you came up with a brand of yourself. You manage a fashion label, right? So can you tell us a bit about that?
Right. After graduating, I was like thinking, okay, all geared up, and I want to I'm ready for the world, and to start up my own business and all that. But it's not easy, because it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of understanding the world of fashion, not just going out and you think you know everything.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
It is.
You got all this passion, desires in yourself, and then one day you find yourself still stuck and you don't know where to go.
Yeah, it does actually. It takes a lot of effort to understand about fashion. But then if you really have the passion for it, it is how you learn it or how you understand it.
And then you came to teach fashion, but did you inculcate business into it from a very early on when you start out teaching?
Not in the early days.
Okay. Then how did it happen, coming to terms with fashion and business?
Okay, it all started in India, because I was trained as in design background. Whereas in India, I was asked to teach business, since I have a little experience in fashion business. So I thought, okay, I'll take that, and I started teaching, and I found that it is interesting, and it does help me to understand about fashion, because to me, what I like to teach people is fashion is a business, and I would like to look fashion as a business.
But why does teaching give you so much pleasure? I know you could have been really successful in running your own label, but why teaching? What is it about teaching that gives you such great satisfaction?
As I mentioned earlier, it's all about people. And, I've been to many schools. I studied fashion and design. But I feel that there is something that I can make a difference in the design world, trying to incorporate business and fashion and retail and other designs that we can really boost up the design economy. So that's why I ventured into education, because I didn't get what I really wanted. So I thought, okay, let's make a difference.
But you do have experience in running a label, which is AKA business. So I understand that running a business is difficult. I run a business myself too, publishing a magazine and hosting a show. All this stuff, it's all about business. But coming from your point of view, as a person being in business, what are the struggles as a fashion designer? What have you faced when you were starting out, wanting to do a business with your passion?
Right. I think it is more like understanding what the market is all about. Because being a good designer, there's so many designers out there, and it's very competitive market actually. But being a good designer is understanding the market. What is it about? What do we have in the market? We can start off. There's so many designers who start off their labels and their boutiques and the retail stores, but are they really
understanding it, right?
Yeah, understanding what the markets need, what the customers need.
So
is
then
all about.
How from where should they start off with? As understanding the market, is there any tools to measure it? How do we know what is trendy and what is not, what is marketable and what is not?
That's where we do our market research, and that is where it comes all into a business study.
Right.
And that's where we started off this fashion entrepreneurship course. It is where to teach you how to study the market, do your market research, and understand what is actually out there. Because nowadays, graduates are just coming out and, oh yeah, I want to start a business, I want to do this, I want to do that. But do you know what you want to do, first of all, So you have to have a clear mindset, a clear vision.
What are the other subjects that are taught in the fashion entrepreneurship course apart from marketing?
Well, we teach them how to manage their retail outlets.
Okay.
We call it
Budgeting,
retail
maybe?
management. We teach them accounts, teach them how to organize events. And apart from that, we also teach them a little bit of design. So you need to understand the world of fashion. And yeah.
Well, I think having skill sets, talents as well, also business skills may not really be enough. What do you think? I think they should also, with these two areas covered, they also have to have a strong mindset, determination to pursue the dreams. If not, everything falls. Right?
Yeah, they have to have a strong mindset, persistence, and but to me, it is all about creativity. How creative you are, and also the passion. You need to have the passion. That is what drives you to become better, to be the best.
Well, you have been teaching for quite some time, and definitely you have come across students, young ones, who are either passionate or not. Are you able to gauge the level of persistency in the course they're taking? And do you think they will, carry on to be a successful fashion designer?
Yes, I am able to. What I do with them, when they first come in, they're so fresh, their mindset, and they're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But what I do is I guide them, I tell them, I ask them, what do you want to be, what do you want to do? And from there on, guiding them towards their vision, their dreams, and helping them to achieve that.
Well, that is the most difficult part.
It is actually, because not everyone has I want to do just designing. They want to do something different. Some want to start a boutique. Some want to work with a designer. Some want to be an illustrator. So it is quite challenging.
I think your personal experience speaks louder than words. You could impart. That is what we need. Lecturers or teachers with the experience from the real working world, and sharing these stories with them so that they do not have to make the same mistakes again. And so now, from your experience, what can you summarize about these young people? What needs to be done, or what are the issues that need to be addressed? Considering now you have this fashion entrepreneurship course started, what are the things? I'm sure, Cecil talked about having constant discussion among yourselves in the college. So what have you observed among the younger generation that has to be looked into?
Right, a lot of people would like to do fashion as a course, but you have to understand and do your little research. What is fashion all about? Because now in the market, there's so many different courses in fashion. Particularly, we have fashion design, and we have other courses that are fashion marketing, fashion business, and fashion entrepreneurship, like what we're offering. Well, the difference between both is where fashion design is just purely design. You do learn a little bit of marketing, but it's more into design. So these are those who graduate from fashion design courses. They are actually fashion designers, pattern cutters, fashion stylists. Whereas if you're talking about fashion entrepreneurship, it is more into business. So what we do is we guide the students, and once you're done with us, they're able to open up their own businesses. Okay. They're able to understand the market and be your own boss.
Well, other than being their own boss, what are the prospects from taking this course? They could be a boss, right? What else could they do if they decided not to be a boss? one day?
Well, they can work with a retail line. They can manage stores, retail chains, and they can just they can even work for people, but they are more into the business side of it.
I think what would be really interesting to see is the collaboration between this set of people with the skills of fashion entrepreneurship, collaborating with non-fashion people to spark up something even more interesting. I mean, they could eventually probably get in line with other design disciplines like graphic design or styling, even culinary arts. There is certain design aspect to it, fashion. Now, what do you think, Noel, from your point of view, what would be a message that you want to send out to the people out there about fashion entrepreneurship?
Fashion entrepreneurship is very promising, and I mean, if we look at, let's say 20 years ago or 15 years ago, you know, how people in the fashion industry, how they have to work themselves up and learn the hard way. And we didn't have this kind of courses then to guide them or to help them. Whereas now we do have this kind of courses to help students, to help people who want to do fashion as business. And we are giving that to them and helping them.
Hopefully they will be appreciative of the efforts. You come across to me as someone really passionate about fashion, and also in teaching we really need more teachers like you. And well, we have come to the end of the show, Noel. I do really want to talk to you more after the show about your passion, especially in fashion. Now, I have just spoken to Noel of ALFA International College, the head of school for the Fashion Entrepreneurship course. Now, if you are interested to find out more about this course, you can always visit their website at www.alfa.edu.my, or just make a visit to ALFA College and look for Noel, the guy from the head of school. Now,
the hair.
Yeah, go spot and look for the guy with that mohawk hair. Okay. Now, before we end the show, I would like to make a short announcement that there will be an Urbanscapes Festival that is happening during the weekend at the Malaysia Agro Exposition Park Sedang. In short, that's MAEPS. That's a lot of things going on. There are highlights of the local non-music acts, as well as, well, I'm sure there will be some fashion design show going on, if I'm not mistaken. Well, the people that we see there will be a certain kind of fashion show that we are able to appreciate. And also, do stay tuned tomorrow at 5:15 in the evening, as I will be hosting an exclusive Malay edition, particularly talking about the CUTOUT International Photography Awards, as well as the highlights of Urbanscapes. Now, do drop us a comment on facebook.com/designed939. We will also be posting up information about a fundraising campaign that is being organized by a group of Malaysian fashion designers together with the Philippines fashion designer in aid of the typhoon victims in the Philippines. Now, that is one interesting topic that we can hear about on the Design Facebook page. Also, if you would like to contribute to this cause, do stay tuned on Designed. And also, for if you want to find out or want to listen to the past episodes, episodes as well as snippets of our show, you can always go to cutoutmag.com/designed, produced by Motion Fixer, the Ideas Agency. Now, this episode this evening is brought to you by ALFA International College. On that note, I am Vivian Toh. I will see you next week. This is Designed on Bernama Radio24.
Read it tomorrow, watch it later, or hear it now. on your fast news and non-stop information radio station, Bernama Radio 24.